Today on Monkey Life, a trip to the hospital for injured lemur Houdini.
There's quite an obvious fracture through the radius there.
Alison attempts to persuade the new baby Loris to try solids.
Yeah, you'll have to get hold of it. It's very wriggly. It's not my most popular part of feeding time.
And Cookie cottons on quick when breakfast arrives, all tied up. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
This is going to take some doing to catch them up, actually.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. At Monkey World's Animal Hospital, local vet Dave Harding is preparing to take a look at two of the park's oldest lemurs. Houdini and White Spot are both 23 years old and were born just 4 days apart. For the last few days, Houdini has been unable to use his left arm. He may have injured it avoiding confrontation with younger members of the troop. White Spot's issue may be the result of a dental problem. He has an abscess on the side of his muzzle, which hasn't gone down, despite a week-long course of antibiotics. Dave is going to examine both lemurs.
Houdini, yeah, that's fine.
Starting with Houdini. Jeremy brings Houdini into the examination room to be put under with anaesthetic gas.
He's moving it.
Under stress, are you catching him? He was.
Yesterday, yeah, he was chasing him.
Okay.
Dave examines Houdini's left arm, comparing it with his right, which the lemur is able to use fully.
Right, should we just get a quick x-ray then?
Anything obvious?
Not crazily, no.
A physical examination won't be enough to solve the problem, but an x-ray could shed some light on what's happening. It's not good news.
There's quite an obvious fracture through the radius there, but the great thing is that the ulnar bone, which is down here, is still completely intact, so that's going to provide a natural splint. Because as long as that other bone stays there, that will almost certainly heal fine, so that's a good fracture.
It's a clean break, which Dave feels could heal in 4 weeks, providing Houdini doesn't overexert himself. It's important the limb heals fully, as lemurs are very active and spend a lot of time leaping around high in the trees. Houdini will need cage rest and restricted exercise before he's allowed back into the tree-filled enclosure at Malagasy. The next lemur on Dave's list is White Spot.
So for White Spot's dental issue, we're not sure exactly what's going on, but given the size of the lump, we think we might have some sort of abscess that potentially might need draining. Lemur teeth are quite well rooted, so they can be quite challenging to sort of bring out. We suspect it could be one of his big canines, but we won't really know until we have him down and have a look at what's going on in there.
White Spot has already been brought across to the hospital where the vet team get to work to sedate him.
Yeah, that feels okay. That's okay.
Power.
That's okay. I wouldn't cuff it actually, but it's a bit more snug.
Dave can now check White Spot's teeth and the abscess on his muzzle.
That can only be that canine. It is fractured, the tip of that canine.
He's pretty certain the two are related.
From the location of the swelling, it almost seems inevitable that it's the canine tooth that's got an abscess, and there is just a tiny chip off the tip of the tooth, so we assume it is that tooth. But it wouldn't be the first time we've assumed that there's a tooth abnormal and the swelling's persisted, so it would be nice to see some proof on an x-ray. If we can get an x-ray, it's not terribly easy to get an x-ray of that location, but we'll have a go. But I think we'll probably have to take that tooth out.
A clear x-ray will give Dave an indication of whether the tooth is the cause of the problem and if there's any infection around it.
You can see around the base of this tooth, there's sort of more whitening here, all right? And then around the base, you can see this black area here, all right? So that's the tooth root abscess.
The offending tooth needs to come out. Dave has brought his dental machine with him and starts by peeling back part of the gum and drilling away some of the infected bone holding the large canine tooth. Once it's exposed, he starts to loosen it.
Oh, there it goes.
It doesn't take long to come out.
Once it got through the top bit, it just gave suddenly. It looks good. I mean, it's pretty conclusive, the fact that it came out like that as soon as it got through that last bit of bone there, so that's cool. All right.
The base of the tooth was so rotten and infected, it fell out with very little effort. To check if the tooth and infection are related, Dave flushes out the abscess.
Yeah, there you go. It's coming out the oral socket.
Satisfied all is well, he stitches up the hole in the gum.
Usually with these things, once you've got rid of the problematic tooth, these things will settle down quite quickly. So hopefully that'll be the end of it.
White Spot will need pain relief and a course of antibiotics for the next week. But it's been a successful day for all concerned.
Get your head there, buddy.
It's a lovely warm summer's day. And at Hananya's enclosure, the primate care team are preparing a morning enrichment for the troop. They've placed peanuts and other protein-packed goodies inside pieces of cloth that have been plaited together. They're distributing them all around the enclosure. The chimps will have to use physical or mental agility to get to the treats inside. Dominant male Hananya leads the excited group out. He's alert and aware something is different in the enclosure, but he isn't exactly sure what. However, low-ranking Cookie's cottoned on quickly, grabbing as many plats as she can while on the move. She knows a more dominant chimp could come along and steal her stash at any moment. In the wild, chimpanzees exploit a wide variety of food items in order to survive. And it's not easy for such large apes, living in large extended families, to find enough food. Chimps investigate and process every possible food item on offer. And this instinct also drives Hananya's group, even though they're struggling to get the knots undone. Sometimes it's a balancing act to find the right approach. Even the boss Hananya hasn't got it sussed, though he may be saving his hidden breakfast for later. Patricia still hasn't worked out pulling the knotted plait with her teeth is only making it tighter. But Zeynep and Cookie have solved the puzzle and are tucking into the peanut treats inside. Thelma has noticed that the two adult females, both originally from the pet trade in Turkey, have worked out the best technique. She heads up with her horde looking for a few useful tips. Or maybe just to steal one of Cookie's already opened parcels. Cookie doesn't seem to mind at all. That is until mischievous Thelma tries to escape with some of Cookie's cloth collection. But the youngster's growing up and can't get away with as much as she used to. Cookie's not allowing that until she's sure there's no more food inside. It's been 9 weeks since Nikki the loris gave birth to twins. Sadly, only one survived. Alison and the team have been hand-rearing it ever since.
Look at you, little one.
The tiny infant has made remarkable progress. It's starting to eat solids and is even learning to climb in its own specially decked-out cage.
I try and keep her in her as much as possible. So at the moment, I mean, she still sleeps an awful lot of the time, but I try and leave her in here whenever she's sleeping so that when she wakes up, the first thing she sees is a branch in front of her face. And every now and again, I'll sort of pick her up, which we can try in a minute, and actually plunk her on a branch. Her grip is very good and secure, but her hand-eye coordination and balance isn't so good yet. So that's something that we're working on. Okay, so where's the nearest? There you go. Hold on.
Alison nicknamed the youngster Bob at birth, but it appears it may be a little girl.
Is that nice? Oh, look at that little belly. Look at that.
She's provisionally renamed the baby Bobby until they're certain. And the youngster has developed quite an appetite.
86, 85, 86 grams. So born at 34, 3 months on 86. That's quite a nice weight gain. It's easy to forget. It sounds ridiculous sitting here holding her in my hand, but you sort of forget just how tiny she is. Doesn't that sound crazy? I know. But she's come on so many leaps and bounds since birth that, you know, to me, she's looking sort of all grown up and together. But yeah, and sort of have to keep in mind that she's still just an infant.
Bobby has milk feeds every day, as she would if she was still with her mum. But Alison has also started to introduce her to some fruits and insects.
When we first tried insects, they were not very popular at all, the flavor, but now very keen. And you can see how important and interested it is. It's almost instinct that they're interested in the wriggling of the insects. She happily gets straight in there. She knows that she wants it, but she hasn't quite gotten it down pat yet to actually bite them and eat them herself. Yeah, you'll have to get hold of it. It's very wriggly. Bite it hard. At this point, it's not my most popular part of feeding time, but sort of little pinch the head off the waxworm and it comes out like a tube of toothpaste. And there are little cartilage bits inside of there that she's very keen on eating, and I do let her eat the skin if she takes it down. So this is all good practice. Most often, she actually ends up spitting out the shell or the skin, but sometimes she actually eats it. We're trying to progress her along so that she can go join the other loris just as soon as possible. So eating solid food and being able to climb in a meaningful and safe way are the two things that I'm trying to achieve as soon as possible. I think we're a ways off of it yet.
It's been almost 5 months since female chimpanzee Nari arrived at the park from a rescue centre in Thailand. From day one, she surprised everyone with her ability to fit in and establish relationships with other chimps, despite having lived alone in a cage for more than 13 years. She's now made friends with all Brian's group, although female Ash does like to throw her weight around. Considering her background, it's remarkable former circus chimp Nari has settled in so well. Animal director Jeremy is impressed.
She's just a really, really nice person, and she's also not, she's the brightest person in the world, and she doesn't want any grief, but she can look after herself, thank you very much, even though she hasn't got any teeth. But yeah, you know, she doesn't take any rubbish from anybody. In fact, Nari's probably the most well-balanced individual in that entire group. Nari seems to be a survivor and you know, she doesn't need counselling. She's all, yeah, I'm all right. You know, I'll make do with what I've got, thank you.
Today is the culmination of the last few months. The introductions and bonding with the care team have led to this moment. The whole group are going outside together. The slide is opened and Brian heads out, with Rodders following close behind. Over the last few weeks, the team have stepped up Nari's meetings with Ash, with positive results. Ash has mellowed, leading to the team's decision to go ahead with today's plan. But for once, Nari doesn't seem too sure. It's left to cheeky Rodders to come back and give her some encouragement. The pair have bonded extremely well in recent weeks. In fact, Rodders is like a love-struck teenager, constantly following Nari around like her shadow. They often enjoy fun play sessions together, although Rodders is prone to going a bit too far. Nari, however, shows great patience. Since the tragic loss of nursery foster mum Sally last year, 16-year-old Brian has taken charge of the group, but his life has been far from straightforward. Originally smuggled from the wild in Africa, when still a baby, the young chimp ended up as a photographer's prop on the beaches of Mexico. All but 4 of his teeth were knocked out to stop him biting tourists. Brian's early years were traumatic and life-changing. The Mexican authorities eventually confiscated him, and in 2006, Alison and her late husband Jim flew out to bring the youngster back to Monkey World.
Brian actually found his mom. He's crazy about Alison.
We get on well.
Brian has now developed into an impressive adult male. But the nightmare of his tragic start in life continues to haunt him, and he's prone to difficult, abnormal episodes.
Well, Brian's always had mental health issues, just put it like that. He's a broken lad. He's a very broken lad, and he's, at the moment he's not having a good time. He really isn't, and he's having some sort of fits quite regularly, and we're working on it. And but you're not going to cure it. I mean, obviously, with humans, we've got therapy. Well, most of the therapy with the chimpanzees, you can't sort of sit him in a dark room and talk deep, meaningful to him and all that sort of stuff. But, we can do, so much, and obviously we are doing that.
Perhaps the calming influence of Nari in the group may help in the future. Life at the park is constantly evolving for the animals and their carers. Staff are kept on their toes with emergency rescues, other potential new arrivals, and sometimes the sudden loss of well-loved individuals. Big decisions often need to be made. The tragic deaths of Saki monkey Tutu and squirrel monkey Charlie a few weeks ago signalled changes for the small monkey team. They decided to merge the park's 2 surviving Saki monkeys, Desmond and Chloe, with the 7 remaining squirrel monkeys, to live as one big group.
They are both species from South America. Lots of different sized primates live together in the wild, in the rainforest, so there's no reason why we shouldn't try mixed exhibits here at the park with animals that come from the same region. So there shouldn't be an issue, but you never know. It's all based on the individuals. Some might be a bit naughtier than others, some might be a bit more nervous, so we just need to try it and see, really.
Chloe has lived with squirrel monkeys before, but it's a new experience for Desmond. With the park's original 4 black-capped squirrel monkeys and the 3 common squirrel monkeys rescued from Bridgewater 2 years ago, there are now 9 primates living together. And so far, all seems well.
With all the groups here at the park, you never know if something's going to happen. You never know if someone's behaviour is going to change. Even just something from them going through adolescence or hitting puberty, their behaviour will change. So we have to constantly monitor all the groups here at the park, and we have to constantly be aware of what's going on and keep a really close eye on them, because there may be a point where it's not working for them, either for the squirrels or the Sakis or both, and at that point we will reassess. Just because we've got them together now, it doesn't mean that we have to keep them together forever. There is always a chance for us to move them somewhere else in the park and make it, if they're not happy, we'll make them happier.
Today, to keep the whole group occupied, some of their breakfast is being served frozen in pine cones, which are being scattered around the enclosure. A slightly perplexed and wary Azzy leads the group out, tentatively reaching for one of the pine cones and testing out some of the ice-cold fruit. Initially, she's not impressed. The pine cones are filled with frozen banana, perfect for the Sarkies, as fruit makes up 60% of their diet in the wild, whereas the squirrel monkeys eat more insects. Of the two Sarky monkeys, Chloe is definitely more laid back. But then she is a lot older than Desmond. Since being put together, the pair haven't looked back. Desmond is the perfect gent, and Chloe is very appreciative.
Desmond is beautiful. He's probably a perfect Sarky monkey male. In all respects, he's beautiful, he's very fit, he's very healthy, but he's also so lovely with Chloe, his female. And when we had them together with Tutu, although he wanted to spend time with Chloe, he'd always go back to his son and check him as well. So he's like a perfect Sarky monkey boyfriend.
Both species of squirrel monkey in the group are small, but they more than make up for it in character. The two youngest, Nueve and Lopez, are the cheekiest and most active, to the annoyance of some of the more mature group members. But so far, this mixed species group seems to have settled in well together, with the youngsters having fun and the oldies tolerating their hijinks.
We constantly want to provide environmental enrichment for animals, but actually interactions with other animals is probably the most enriching thing you can get. And if that other animal is a different species, it's even more exciting and more different, but it's actually really, really nice for the animals if it works well.
Next time on Monkey Life, two of the park's more unusual residents get a health check from wildlife vet John Lewis.
They were taken from, obviously, the pet trade. Very thin. They've lost a lot of hair.
And little orangutan Mimi experiments with nest building.